Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I like to just grab G.I.Combat. The stuff's not these old issues. There's so many of these. And this one's from 1980. So already now it's the big war book. By the 80s, the G.I.Combat in the 70s it had like one or two stories, maybe three. Now you were getting a huge, like I said, six stories. Like no ads. Yeah, I wonder how they get away with that. Of course, this would last another 6 years. Sergeant Rock would last till '88, and then that was it for the American war comics. At least with the major publishers. You still, of course, had the Great Vietnam Journal, and then I don't know how long the Nam ran. I think the Nam ran into the. It did. It ran into the '90s. Of course, that was Marvel's Vietnam comic, which was like so different from everything else it did. But we'll go through the stories. I like this one's here too, where the guy's like, he's on him, right? You're missing, right? You better learn how to fire. Your life will depend on a soldier. And he's like, you're always riding my tail. So help me, I'll kill him when we get into combat. So then they're in the Pacific, and then this Japanese is gonna get this guy, and then he says, I knew you'd come through if I ragged you long enough, soldier. You got a bullseye. You're a sharpshooter. It's like, am I? Did I miss him and hit the Jap instead? And you would almost, I would love it. It would be like, yeah, good. So, uh, and it's like, no, not when his life depended on me. I'm a sharpshooter, all right. Yeah. Um, Now we go to the haunted tank, of course. One of the craziest stories here. And once again, you have, and when you're a kid, you read this is cool. You get all the different German tanks, right, fighting the M4 that, of course, is guided by Jeb Stuart's ghost, right? Uh, but there's an example of where they have an elephant tank destroyer, they have a Jag Panzer, but in North Africa, right? So none of this is chronologically correct, you know. And the Germans are speaking German. Die Amerikaner dürfen nicht mit ihr Auskunft entführen. Right? Führer, right? Oh. Foolish Americans. Yes, definitely. Trying to hide in the sand like ostriches. They'll never live to escape with the information that could change the course of the war. Fuck. Yeah, so a command of a Jag Panzer. So anyway, they're fighting the elephant, which you didn't have in North Africa. They acknowledge they had to shoot it from the side. Oh. And it's cool. They have the lynxes, although the lynx didn't have. The lynxes were the last Panzer IIs that were made that were actually heavily armored and used as scout tanks. But they have they had a single gun, but here they have it looks like the original ones. And the story is just them fighting, and there's a Jag Panzer. Not accurate at all. And of course, the Germans are still speaking German, right? Die Amerikaner versuchen sich im Sad wie Strauße zu verbergen. Führer! They abandoned their tank. Now they try to hide in the sand like ostriches. Again with the ostriches. They must not escape with information that could change the war. Oh, again. Yeah, Robert Kanigher, that dude was crazy, bro. But when you're a kid, you would like this. You just see these cool German tanks. How come they're like getting their asses kicked by this M4, this Tommy Cooker, and the way they stopped the Jag Panther, is interesting. There's more than one way to skin a tiger. So now we get to the other stories here. Once again, this is Edgar Boccaccio. These are the Filipino artists, man. They always had 2 or 3 Filipino artists on this title, and their work is very distinctive. And this is a story where you have some islanders here, and of course the Japanese come, those evil Japanese, who had poured purple and blue. It's funny how the Germans and the Japanese, the color scheme in G.I.Combat was they would wear purple. And so this guy, he helps the Japanese because he thinks they're going to help his people, but you can see that they're just gonna make them slaves. And can ever be forgiven, Father? That will be decided by our people, if and when we are ever freed. Alright, so copper miners. Yes, Tano, the Japanese came with their modern methods, but weren't you naive to think that they would share the wealth produced by your slave labor? And here's more. And this Cruz, man, Cruz, this guy was amazing. You could see the Japanese manga influence mixed with the Spanish European style of comics. But so, and this goes the OSS story. Of course, they become the CIA eventually, right? And who's this? Oh, this son of a bitch. I really gotta say though, it really is getting. A lot of things are coming out. A lot of people are starting to see things from today. They're starting to see how certain people act, especially since October. Right? But also, Churchill, more and more, people are realizing, I would say a buffoon. The guy was not a dummy. But it's even worse when you're not a dummy. And you did what this guy did. So I will be happy enjoying my last breath on this planet, knowing that this guy is excoriated from all sides. But well, regardless, but the art is really good. And the thing about this story that's nice, the art is really good. Like I said, these Filipino artists, if you made this black and white, the blacks really would sell it, almost like manga. What's interesting about this story is that it's not really a happy ending. These two spies, in order to actually complete their mission, they both die, right? And you see, they always talk about going to Piccadilly, right? Meet you in Piccadilly, and then you see their ghosts. That was kind of a downbeat ending for one of these stories. And here's another one. I'm not familiar with these creators, but you get this guy. This guy is like, he doesn't want to be a pilot. He hates the air. He just wants to service the planes. And he ends up, on one of these B-17s. And he's already freaking out. He's like, get me out of here. But he ends up being heroic. He helps save. Hold on a second. Why can't I get this? These are old. These are old comics. Right, so he saves the commander, and I love it. He goes, "You saved my life. I'm gonna recommend you for flight training." He's like, "What?" He's like, "In a pig's eye, Captain. If God meant me to fly, I'd be sprouting wings." Right? He's like, "Screw this, man. I'm staying on the ground." I thought that was kind of funny. And I said, all these stories are very interesting now. Even with the World War II narrative, you're starting to see that there's something different with these stories. Like, none of these war stories are like, hey, everybody. I guess this one was smiling at the end, but they're kind of downbeat, other than the main Haunted Tank story. Right? And this is interesting. I was just looking through this, and it's 1980, right? The Army's new main battle tank was revealed recently in a ceremony highlighted by Julius Harvey Abrams, the widow of General Creighton Abrams, right? So, remember, the Abrams tanks, they were being built, like I said, 2 years before, right? So the main battle tank you have today was basically being made and was tested and released. Like I keep saying, when disco was on the pop charts, right? When the Village People were YMCAing and going in the Navy, and I was a kid trying to figure out, who are these guys? Why are they dressed up like different things? The old KTU was on in New York. I'm just saying that this is when this Abrams tank was made. Okay, I think we might be stagnating, and as you can see, the vaunted Abrams, who were hardly invincible tanks. Even they did a lot of damage, but the insurgents knocked a bunch of them out. But now you're starting to see fighting other real enemies that can fight you. They're hardly invincible weapons. Okay, just like the vaunted Merkava tank. Don't get me started. So it is a cool story here. I like to get this clown here. He's having a little fun. Sarge is like, I'll put you on KP for months, right? So then they go to, I think, Guadalcanal. And the Japanese guy throws a grenade, and the clown is like, hit the dirt. And he sacrifices his life for his comrades. And they're like, the sergeant is like, Willis pulled his last joke. He left us stuck with this whole lousy war. So it's just funny that this clown is like, you don't know if this guy's sad for him or if he's like, he left us with this whole lousy war. And you're starting to see, like, in a lot of these stories, right, that this war thing is really not something to celebrate, not something that's even, like, not fun, not anything. So we'll round it out with once again, the crazy Robert Kanigher, who actually created a lot of DC characters. Right? You can't cheat death twice. And like, poison gas. Wait, poison gas? This is World War II. So, Germany had poison gas stockpiles. They never used it. Why? Because they were afraid the Allies would. Yeah, there you go. It's interesting you have. What is this? So you get this story where there's like a mystery going on, where like the tank guys are going out, like the other guys in these squads are going out, and they're disappearing. They're not coming back, right? And this is a weird thing here, right? Right, all that's left of the French infantrymen of World War I are their bayonets. Like, they wouldn't have, at least things sticking out of the surface, they wouldn't have taken. But so of course Jeb is talking to the general. Only he could see him, so all these guys are like, "Oh, he's a Section 8," But it's always like, yeah, he's crazy, but he always gets us out of trouble. So, and he says this weird thing. I never thought we'd be fighting World War II on the same battleground as World War One. You're fighting in Europe, you're fighting in France, right? You're fighting. Why not? It's the same battleground. Yeah, but this crazy story is interesting. They discover what's going on, right? Apparently, there are still Germans from the First War who never surrendered and I guess remained hidden, right? Who are still fighting the First War. They don't even realize there's a second war going on. It's crazy. What a cool, crazy idea. So speaking of war, selbst wenn der Kaiser aufgegeben hat, geben wir nie auf. Right? Even if the Kaiser has surrendered, we will never give up. It's like there's a new cat on the block, Fritz. The Kaiser is a cock next to him. Well, how could you guys not know about him? He was one of you guys. Anyway. So, I just love speakers. Wir haben gewarnt. Wir steckt in diesem Tal. Jahrelange. Der Krieg geht weiter. Bis zum Tod. Deutschland über alles. Yes, I agree. Germany above all. We have lived hidden in this valley for years, waiting for the enemy. Now they are here, and the war goes on to the death. Germany above all, right? So you see, they're using poison gas. So that's how these tank guys are being mysteriously killed, And so they go at it. There's somehow B-17 gets involved. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Es schmeckt von Tod, so wir fuhr the anderen, right? It will taste death like the others. Damn. Now it's funny that the guy knows here. I won't even speak German here. Allied bombers beyond our reach. So they know that there's. It doesn't make any sense, but who cares? It's craziness, man. The Japanese couldn't make something this crazy. So anyway, of course, the Hornet tank. Jeb uses the propellers on the B-17 to blow the poison gas away, and they take care of these Germans, right? And like that. It all ends. Hey, Jeb, the enemy survived the First World War, only to die in the Second. It's like, like I said, I don't even care that the Germans are the bad guys. It's so freaking bizarre that you can't help but not like it. And rounding it out, this is when they would do. I think the British used to do this in their war comics, combat album, where they talk about the Centurion and they give the specs for it. This was the tank the British finally came up with to fight the Tiger, but it was came out too late, Instead, it fought in Korea, it fought in Israel, it fought in Angola. A tank that was very upgradable, very modern. So, but its origin was in the war. So anyway, I'm done.